Okay, so Abzan Company. Hey Garrett, how's it going? Yeah, so to fully answer your question, Chris, Knight of Autumn, like if you're looking at a flex spot, and you're saying, well, Skooz is a flex slot main board. It's kind of like a hate card main board, where Knight of Autumn you could also consider to be a hate card main board. The thing is that Skooz is a hate card main board that actually is useful in almost every matchup, where Knight of Autumn is only going to be useful against what? Burn, maybe Tron if you can hit a map turn 2, or an O-Stone. Prison decks, which we don't really care about. So really the only matchup we'd want it for would then potentially be Tron, right? Because Burn game 1 Burn game 1 we're actually fine. We're okay. We're slightly unfavored, maybe like 45, 55. If we have a Finks draw, we're going to do pretty well. Otherwise, we're just going to have to side. We're going to have to get Shalai or side into all of our Knight of Bottoms. Skooz, on the other hand, is good against any deck that uses a graveyard and any deck that runs non-exile removal. Because late game, a Skooz you can untap with and just make a 6/6 out of nowhere. Skooz is secretly the largest creature in our deck. Yeah, I'm actually excited for Mirror Entity not against Thing in the Ice. I know there's that cool little tech here, so I guess I'll jump right into Mirror Entity. So the tech here for this league, we're going to try Mirror Entity, which the secret surprise is against a Thing in the Ice flip, which, by the way, Thing in the Ice wrecks this deck. So against a Thing in the Ice flip, as long as you have 1 mana up, you can make all your creatures 1/1 shapeshifters. Shapeshifters include horror, so they wouldn't flip. That's neat. I think that alone can probably win a game, steal maybe even game 1 against a Thing in the Ice deck. However, I'm actually more excited about Mirror Entity as a fair card against decks that we can't combo against, like Tron, or maybe not can't combo against, but we need to clock if we can't get a fast combo. I'm thinking specifically Tron and Blue-White Control. Just think about something like this. Turn 1 Dork, turn 2 Druid, turn 3 Mirror Entity and Viscera Seer, right? So we didn't combo off, that's fine, because turn 4, we're going to hopefully play a land, tap Druid, that's 5 mana, make all of our creatures a 5/5, untap Druid, Druid will be a 4/4, and swing for a total of 24 damage. That's fair, right? There's no combo there. We just played a couple mana dorks, and we're able to win the game. And absolutely, we can totally wipe our board against an Anger of the Gods, and then untap with Scavenging Ooze and win the game. Yep. Under Ensnaring Bridge, Mirror Entity works a lot like Shalai. It's kind of like having an extra Shalai in the deck, where we can attack in with a Birds of Paradise, or even a Devoted Druid, and then make a bajillion mana after it's declared as an attacker, and then win that way. So the list I wanted to test, I wanted 1 Mirror Entity main. The card I'm going to actually cut for this is going to be a Duskwatch Recruiter. I've thought a decent amount about this. I could cut Eternal Witness, but Eternal Witness is so valuable to our post-board plan. I could cut Shalai, but again, I think that Shalai is overperformed, so I really don't want to trim Shalai. Mirror Entity and Duskwatch Recruiter are similar in that if we can Coco into them once we have infinite mana, we just win the game. So it's kind of taking that similar slot. And then post-board, I was intrigued with trying Anafenza again. I don't know what I would cut here. I've been thinking a little bit of like the possible cuts would be this group. And Anafenza and Scavenging Ooze are very similar in terms of what they're both hitting the same thing. I like Scavenging Ooze a lot more against green-black decks, and I like Anafenza a lot more against Phoenix-style decks. I could cut a Knight of Autumn from side. The last league I did that, and I got absolutely punished by playing Affinity twice, but I think that is probably the correct line, because we do have enough life gain and different things against burn and things like that. Anafenza is also interesting because she's actually the largest creature in the deck, and I like having something like that to help push a fair game against, again, control or something like that. So I think this is actually a fine 60 here. Make sure it's 60 and 15. I don't want to run a league again, which was 61-14. Yep, this is Anafenza here. She's a 3-mana 4/4. Whenever she attacks, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on another tapped creature I control. And then she's got kind of a Kalitas effect, except it's actually better. If a non-token creature an opponent owns would die, or if a creature not in the battlefield would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. So she stops Phoenix pretty hard, which is pretty nice. Mr. Crafter? Yeah, Mr. Crafter just helps so much in certain spots, and actually, I mean, the same spots that Mirror Entity I imagine would help with, where we are getting overrun with really just against Tron and blue-white control. I will say, Knight of Autumn has overly impressed. So one thing neat about Anafenza, if I go turn 1 Dork, turn 2 Anafenza, my opponent cannot go Faithless Looting, ditch 2 Phoenixes into the yard. Well, they can, but then they get exiled. Yeah, that's true. Any other votes between Knight of Autumn and Plague Crafter? This is just a test league, so I just want to see. I mean, Skoos is a consideration, but honestly, I really just want to keep him anyway. So we're looking at cutting one of these. Sin Collector's overperformed. I've had a bunch of people recommend different cards, but I think Sin Collector in general is just so powerful. Unless Tron becomes an overwhelming percentage of the meta. In that case, I would maybe move to Tidehollow Sculler. But Sin Collector being a permanent exile from their hand is super relevant against both Snapcaster Mage and Phoenix decks. Like Crafter. Okay. I just want to see more of Crafter. So I'm good with this. Last league was a 2-3. That was an 0-2 start we saw. I ended up facing, I started recording, and then I didn't have time to finish recording it, so I ended up, it was blue-red with Jace, I believe, blue-white with Jace, and then I faced green-black rock, beat it, and then I faced green-black rock, and I top-decked, I drew every single, in game 3 I drew every single land I controlled in my entire, I drew all 21 lands. And if I had drawn I was just holding him off with a 12/12 Scavenging Ooze for a while. If I had drawn even a Birds of Paradise, I would have won, because then I could have attacked with Skoos, but instead he ended up beating me with just having 3 attackers, and Skoos can only block 1. Then the last match I faced something. This is why I write it down. I faced Mono Red Phoenix, and I creamed him game 1, and then I beat him 2 and 3. But then I lost 2 and I beat him 3. Mono Red Phoenix is a very good matchup unless they have the nuts. Like the one he beat me, he had the absolute nuts. He swung in with, I think it was turn 3, swung for 15. Just is absolutely crazy. Gut shot just pumped out. Got Manamorphose into double like Lava Spike. He had 3 prowess creatures in the board. It was just painful. This is taking a little while, huh? Does anyone know how much these people play? Like 23 trophies. That's a lot of trophies. I mean, to get 23 trophies, you have to play 23 leagues, and 23 leagues is a lot. Yeah. I forget where I saw it, but I think it was something like if you have a 60-something% win rate, you should 5-0 like 8% of the time. Well, right off the bat, we get a mirror entity hand. I will keep this. It's got a turn 1 Dork and a turn 2 Kitchen Finks. That's keepable, especially on the play. Yeah, they definitely, no one's rattling off 23 5-0s. If so, then they just broke the format. Okay, if this is Grixis Death Shadow, Finks and Eternal Witness are pretty good here, as is Ballista. Unless they take Ewit, no matter what, we're probably just going to be playing Ewit and buying back what they take. I like the Grixis Death Shadow matchup. I think it's super fun. It's pretty skill intensive. It's really neat playing around. They win if they have basically if they have TBR and stubs to stop a removal post board. And we win if they don't have TBR or we can stop their TBR. Because we can just flood the board and go wide enough without trample, they really can't do much. I mean, just looking at this hand, like, our opponent's probably wondering what the heck we're playing. I mean, I think these two cards kind of give it away. Yeah, Mirror Interesting here seems... Mirror Entity seems really interesting. Mirror Interesting. Yeah, Mirror Interesting seems sweet. So I don't see a reason to shock here, even though I guess it gives their opponent extra information, but I'd rather have that extra 2 life. I wonder how Walking Ballista and Mirror Entity work. I believe how it would work, I'm like 99% sure, is Walking Ballista, if let's say I make all my creatures 4/4s, Walking Ballista would be a 4/4 with whatever many counters he has on him, which would be really sweet. So that's actually a really neat interaction between Walking Ballista and Mirror Entity, just again as fair cards. Yep. Which seems awesome. I mean, it just lets you squeak out a couple more points of damage. Okay, so turn 2 Gurmag. Manador could be great here. Notice by a tap land and pass. Opponent has 5 cards still in their hand. We will have access to 5 mana next turn, which means I can cast Mirror Entity and Walking Ballista, and then potentially swing for lethal the following turn. Or not. This is interesting, which one opponent takes right there. I mean, I think Walking Ballista is probably better, just because it can strike them down from pretty much any life total. I believe we kept Crafter. Yes. So we went down to 2 Knight of Autumns. Hopefully we don't play against Burn. Okay. Not attacking. And we can swing for lethal next turn. Yeah, I really like this interaction between Druid and Entity, as I kind of highlighted in the introduction to this league. That's actually what I keep thinking about. They got a Fatal Push the Druid, right? Yeah. Just because Druid can make extra mana right before you pump it up. So opponent has 1 mana up, which leads me to believe I think they might have a Fatal Push, and they're hoping for a Revolt trigger if I double block. I cannot see a situation. I could block with the Kitchen Finks just to block with the Kitchen Finks because it doesn't matter with Mirror Entity how big it is. But I don't see a situation where I die here from taking 5. Yeah, pretty sure they have that second push, which means they're probably going to hit the Noble because it's all that they can. Or a Shadow. So opponent isn't dead because we didn't draw a land. I can put them down to 2. And 2 is not dead. Yeah, land would have been the best possible draw. Coco's pretty good, and I actually think I'm going to Coco before they can untap because I don't want it to get stubborn denialed. But I'm just trying to think of anything else that could possibly happen here. Grixis Death Shadow has moved off from Lightning Bolt main, so I don't really have to worry about that as much. I mean, and they're just not dead. I can put them at pretty low life. Like if I do make 5/5s, they can block, go down to 5, and then these guys wouldn't even. These guys actually would trade off. So actually, hold on. All right, I make my creatures 5/5s and I attack. They have to block 1. They block here. Right here. Let's say they block here. No, they have to double block. I can go for the win now. So it's not even a win. I can just wipe 2 shadows, right? So if I make 5 mana, I swing with 3. They have if they block just 1, they're dead. They have to double block. So they're gonna block Mirror Entity and Finks, right? These shadows will they'll take 5. They'll go down to 5. These shadows will actually survive the damage. So that's wrong. His shadow is weird. Yeah, but the shadows would actually survive that. The shadows would survive being hit for 5 damage because the shadows would become 8/8s. I think I'm more intrigued in Druid than Vizier here, even though Vizier works pretty nicely with Finks. And I'm going to grab Ballista. Yep, Infinite Life would have won there. Grab Ballista instead of Company because Ballista gives me a couple more outs than Company would. Also, Company can get TBR'd. It's not TBR'd, stubbed, while Walking Ballista can just straight up win me the game if my opponent gets too clumsy with their life total here. We're probably going to see a Desperation attack because I don't see how our opponent can win without that. But without a second source, we know that they cannot TBR, which makes it a little bit safer. It's also interesting, I took a long time to make that decision, but we're still ahead on clock, which is kind of neat. Okay, so they now have access to TBR mana. So if they have TBR, I think we're just dead. Yeah, and that's like the one card that we really can't play around here. I'll just do that. No double blocking in case they have push. They can't push the mirror entity. Possibly. Block with both witnesses, and that way I keep the 1 extra mana off of the Hierarch. Only is better if I draw a land. Otherwise, I have more options here for just fair damage, because right now I'm representing lethal even without really a large mirror entity. Like, or if they killed mirror entity, then I'd rather have the Eternal Witness over the Noble. Like if they bolted the mirror entity or something, or pushed it because they do have Revolt. 8 days, so this is game 1, match 1 of the Mirror Entity League, and we kept them in the opening hand and made some interesting board states, which is something I'm interested in a deck like this. So yeah, opponent's super dead. So we're just going to swing for a lot here. Okay. And I finally actually got to show off that interaction I was talking about before the game started with the Voted Druid and Mirror Entity, where you can add an extra mana and then untap her. She'll be 1 smaller, but you can get an extra mana to make all your other creatures there bigger, which is awesome. So in this matchup, I keep Ballista, but I cut all my cords. I cut a couple Druids, a couple Vizier, a Seer, and a Noble. I keep Ballista in because Death Shadow often puts himself at like 6 life, and sometimes a Ballista can just steal a game. I don't even need the combo. I think our opponent took the Ballista because I think when they thought these Mirror Entity and Ballista, I think they made a mistake not taking the entity there with our board state. So I think Path is just strictly better than Trophy here. I'm not actually that impressed with Anafenza in this matchup. A 4/4 is very small compared to their 5/5s. And if I had to trim one more card here, usually I trim a Duskwatch, but Mirror Entity is in that 3rd Duskwatch slot. Honestly, I don't think I'd mind trimming a Trophy. Yeah, Mirror Entity just adds a neat element to the deck. I'm really impressed with it just in that first showing. And just knowing you have access to a couple more outs, like you can cord for a Mirror Entity, untap, and swing for lethal. Okay, this is a keep. Opponent mulligan to 5, digging for removal. I love Eternal Witness in this matchup. Yes, I'm trying Anafenza the Foremost over the 3rd Night of Autumn, which depends upon what we face. Anafenza seems pretty sweet against some of our worst matchups. Yeah, I think 5 removal spells. Having access to Plaguecrafter is kind of like a 6. I think that's really important. Opponent Fatal pushing a bird, I think, is a mistake here. Yeah, they're pretty much showcasing that they have a Stubborn Denial here. Like, why else would you prioritize taking Mana Dorks over a Path? Menadorks are one of our weakest cards in the matchup, unless we have Mirror Entity or Gavny Township. Or a bird is actually pretty good with the Noble trigger. But if you notice, I actually cut one Noble, so we're actually running a 3-3 split here, because I like having the bird to Exalted trigger over, and I think that is more important than the Exalted trigger itself. I think the flying is more relevant. Also, we bring in some more extra black cards, and I like having the access to the bird over the Noble. Okay. Probably taking the Ewit here. Good news is our opponent is down to one card in their hand. I think I actually want to cast the Ballista on 1 here, because I have nothing else to do with my mana. If they have a Fatal Push, that's fine. But 1 card left in their hand, they've already pushed. This lets me start pressuring the board and makes them spend unnecessary resources on it. Plus, next turn I can drop the Canopy and start plussing if I don't draw anything else. Probably Shadow here. No? Okay. No cards left in their hand. This is a really good draw. Sphinx is one of the best cards in the matchup, as long as they don't have Stubborn Deny. Sorry, not Stubborn Deny. Surgical Extraction or TBR. Sphinx can hold them off for a long, long time. This is probably a Gurmag, because they have no other cards in hand. It's not like they need to hide, pretending having a stub or anything. Yep, they're just going to hold it until they have an answer to our path, which is the correct line. I'm not going to crack Horizon Canopy because we have access to double white net this way, and also we have 4 mana for a company. It'd be really painful if I cracked Horizon Canopy and drew a company there. If I get a 5th land, I might crack it, unless that 5th land is exactly Gavny Township. Opponent is now should be out of basic lands, which is pretty important in this matchup. I'm going to company while they cannot TBR. Sorry, not Stubborn Denial. I'm messing up those acronyms pretty hard right now. And I'm actually just going to go double Eternal Witness. Grabbing a company. And grabbing a Walking Ballista. This way, we're pretty set no matter what they end up doing. Yeah, Eternal Witness is so good in this deck. Okay. So unless they drop, I mean, they're just dead no matter what. They have 1 card left in their hand. Yep. Good game. Okay. 1-0. Currently rocking a 68.58% win percentage with the list, so I'm pretty happy with it. All right. Yeah, mulling to 5, and our hand had some redundancy with Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness makes Thoughtseize look kind of silly. I like this hand. Game 1, it's got a lot of different angles we can attack our opponent with. If they're burn, we have the Finks. If they're not burn, we have Druid. Either way, our best possible draw is probably a Company or a Vizier. Scavenging Ooze is a good draw if we're up against a blue-red deck, which we are. Okay. And right on time, we draw Mirror Entity. Yeah, under 20 matches recorded. 82% is pretty good. It dips. It goes up and down. In paper, my win rate is right around 80%, but MTGO it's right around 60, so it's a big difference. So if our opponent does nothing and we top deck a Vizier, we have a turn 3 win here because of Mirror Entity. Okay, Snap Bolt. That's good. The Bolt is going to kill the Druid, which means it's probably not going to kill the Mirror Entity. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. What are the odds that they are able to flip Thing in the Ice? Because I'd rather get a little bit of a board state before with Mirror Entity. So I think I'm actually going to take a little bit of a risk here. The thing is, even if I played Mirror Entity right there, I wasn't going to block with it. So just dropping it on the board didn't really do much and just opened it up to Gut Shot. Yeah, Scoo's Bird, I think, is the best line because if they don't flip Thing, I'm okay here. And if they do flip Thing, then I'm going to go down to 10. And then can untap with the Finks. Metamorphose is pretty stupid. Honestly, I actually think they made a mistake printing Thing in the Ice. I think they should have made Thing in the Ice need 5 counters. I think for standard, needing 4 is perfectly fine, but in a format like this, for I think modern, you just need 4. I mean, 4 counters is nothing. Surgical Extract my Druid. I think that's a huge mistake. No, the reason I think it's a mistake is our opponent is a deck that runs a ton of removal spells. I'm not really worried about... I'm not going to try to combo with Druid. Yep. It's the line I'm going to be taking. I'm going to play, most likely going to go Kitchen Finks and probably Bird, block with a Bird. Then if I top deck the Seer or a Company, I have a chance of winning. If I can steal game 1 here, I'll be pretty happy. I don't think we're in a good spot, but we're in an okay spot if we can get a lucky top deck and if our opponent's hand is just air. I'm not blocking with the Finks because I want to try to get infinite life, and I can't do that if Finks gets blocked. If I block with Finks. Okay. Opponent pitched 2 lands and played another. It's not a red land, so if we draw exactly Seer right here, we can win the game. That is not Seer. Good news is Gavany Township makes it so we can keep resetting Finks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I'll be doing a full league. Yes, full league right now. So this should be on YouTube by the end of the night. I don't think I want to play Mirror Entity here. I think I actually would rather play Vizier and then just hold up Skew's mana. The way my board's set up right now is I can block with Kitchen Finks, and if they have a removal spell for Vizier, then I can just reset them with Gavany and buy a little bit of time that way. They already cast 1 surgical. I don't think they run 2 surgicals. That stinks. That certainly hurts. See you, Days. Okay. He had it, too. If our opponent bolts us, we're going to 10. And then they'll be at 2 life after Crackling Drake. So we're in a kind of a rough spot here. I think my line is, so I have a couple choices here. I can reset Kitchen Finks and block again, but then potentially die to Crackling Drake. And then they don't even need to do anything with Finks. I can Cord for something, which I don't even think is super helpful at the moment. I can Cord for 3. Cording for 3 could get me another Finks, which is actually kind of neat. That would put me up to 15. Or I can Mirror Entity and then keep 2 mana up for Skews, eat something right now to make Skews a 4/4, and then I can try to swing and kill on next turn, which is my line. Yeah, I need Mirror to live, and then if my opponent attacks, I'll block with Kitchen Finks, take the Crackling Drake damage, and then hopefully be able to untap and just swing in. Like, they're in a weird spot now thanks to Mirror. Mirror is actually pretty neat. It makes the combat math really weird for them. They put 2 cards on top. I honestly think their game plan is killing me with Drake right here, which is one reason why I wanted to not Cord and wanted to try to win with I wanted to try to win in one turn, because I don't think I have to. Opponent ops, draws a card that they topped already. Faithless Looting. Yeah, I mean, if they Faithless Looting into a bolt, I'm pretty dead. Okay. If they have Gut Shot, I'm dead. It's as simple as that. Opponent properly recognizing that they don't have lethal, which tells me that they don't have Gut Shot. If they attack with both, I'm going to block with Finks, gain 1 life, and be at 1 life. One, two, three, four, 5. I can put my opponent down to 4 life. That's not going to do it. Interesting to note, where opponent runs Pyromancer Ascension. Unfortunately, Mirror Entity. Let's see. Yeah, if I attack with, I can make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They'll probably block here and here, and then just take 5. Doing that, actually, they keep the Crackling Drake, so they have to block 2, right? Sorry, new to Mirror Entity, the math is a little strange. It kind of reminds me of Death Shadow in that way. So if I attack, our opponent will block probably Awoken Horror onto Mirror Entity, and then that would just kill them. Actually, Awoken Horror onto Scoos, and Scoos would be a 8/8. So they block here, and then they'd have to block here and trade. So I actually think I have the upper hand here. Yeah. We know our opponent does not have Gut Shot, because if they did, we'd be dead right now. I'm actually okay with this. This is trading anyway. I don't actually have to do anything. Mirror Entity's dead no matter what I do. Finks will put him down to 7. And I cannot save Scavenging Ooze here. So I think this is fine. And then I just have Cord mana and Gavany to reset Finks. So this is fine. Interestingly, I can Cord for Druid here. Oh, I can't. Druid's exiled. I can Cord for 2. Okay, there's 1 Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard. Okay. I would still need to reset Finks. So I Cord for Vizier, untap. I could then... I wouldn't be able to reset Finks that way. Either way, I'm Cording for 2. I will say this game has been a lot more competitive thanks to Mirror Entity just being in the main. I do think Vizier is the best possible pickup here, so I'll just grab that. And I will go to 8. That's fine. One, two, three, four. So it would take all my mana to make Finks correct. I think I'm actually just going to pass. Swinging for... If I attack, they'll just block Vizier, and then they'll take 3, and then I'm dead. So I think I'll just pass here. An opponent's got 21 lands left in their deck. Maybe I can mill them. It's not going to happen, but it'd be neat. If Scavenging Ooze, if I hadn't already played them, or if I had a second, I would have courted for Scooze right there instead of Vizier. My line here is going to most likely be reset Finks, then block with him. Opponent put 2 cards in the bottom, cast another one. There is a Phoenix in their graveyard, so a Bolt will be pretty rough here. Bolt means I'm dead. If they don't attack with both Phoenix, that means they don't have Bolt. I could Chord for a Finks. So I'm going to go to 5. I think I'm just going to Township. Township, block, hope they don't have Gut Shot. Well, they would have had to already Gut Shot there. Another Surgical. So my opponent here is running 2 Surgicals main board. That's pretty rough. So my chance of winning now is to Chord for... I don't think I can win here. Chord for Eternal Witness, buyback, Mirror Entity. I'm dead in the air. It's a second Surgical that's killing me here. One, two, three. I mean, hey, I can try it, right? Not dead, but pretty close. Yeah. Opponent have any burn spell or removal spell, we're just dead. My plan is to block Awoken Horror, or if they get Phoenix up, we're dead. If we block Awoken Horror, put them down to 2, and then if I draw an Eternal Witness, buy back Ballista, that still won't be enough. Unless they shock themselves here. Serum Vision's 2 on top, so I think we're just dead. This is pre-combat, so killing the Phoenix doesn't do anything, so that's game. Alright, what do you guys think? That was game 1 against Phoenix. And that was, I feel, a lot closer than it normally is. It was really double Surgical that hit us. Otherwise, I think we had that game. reset the Finks, and then Chord for Seer. I think would have game over for them there. Unfortunately, them having double surgical means we're going to be a lot weaker post-board because our post-board plan involves a lot of graveyard usage. So I think because of that, I'm actually going to turn with Finks. I'll run with that. That was so close, guys. If our opponent just hadn't blocked, we had it. A little cheeky win there. It's really just surgical that ended our dreams there. I expected one. That's been kind of the stock recently, but the second one is absolutely killer there. Sounds fine. As long as Noble lives, we have a decent curve, and if Noble dies, we'll just play Dusky Boy. Believe in the heart of the cards. I mean, if we just drawn Viscera Seer at that point, we'd won the game. So we had plenty of outs, we had plenty of spots, and this is a terrible game one matchup, and I feel like that was about as close as we can get to winning without winning there. Opponent put one on top, one on bottom. So we shredded a Spell Pierce from their hand. They still have double Arclight Thing and 3 lands, so their hand's pretty bad. They played a Spire Bluff and a Thing. So I'm going to Plague Crafter. Actually, no. I'm going to drop a Noble. Swing for 4. See if they block. They will not. And then I will Plague Crafter. My next turn... need white, so I'll get a Plains. They have double Phoenix, but they don't have another thing, so I think actually I'm just going to kill a Noble here, and then keep the 3/2. If they had another thing in the ice, I would kill Plaguecrafter and then rebuy it. Alright, Plaguecrafter coming in pretty sweet there, guys. The sun right behind me kind of makes this really bright. Put the Misty. Knock our opponent down to 8 here. That's fine. Kind of actually what we wanted to happen, to rebuy it. Surgical on Plague Crafter. I am okay with that opponent. Really, they're just getting extra information for post-board game. So their hand is double. They can play Phoenix next turn. Hard cast. That's fine. Why don't I fix that lighting? So we're going up against some pretty interactive decks right from the get-go, which is actually pretty sweet because it's what we want to be playing against. We have 4 power, we have a trophy, so I think we just trophy this, and then swing for 4. We know 1 card in our opponent's hand is a Phoenix. But unless they have, even with if they just drop a Phoenix, they lose. Yep. Because they need a Phoenix and a removal spell there. Okay. Same list. Surgical is really good against us. I don't think surgicaling a Blade Crafter does much, but be right back. What do you guys think? Yeah, I did take a leak. I mean, you see me drink so much coffee and water, it's going to happen at some point. If we get a second land, this hand is really good. If they bolt our noble, this hand is pretty bad. This hand is a turn 3 win, though. I think we have to keep this and just hope we hit a land. Because we can go turn 1 noble, turn 2 druid, turn 3 vizier, as long as we get a second white source entity also. Okay, visions. Mirror Entity makes this matchup feel a little bit better, to be honest. And not just because of the ability to stop a Thing in the Ice flip, but because it changes all the combat math. Of course our opponent bolts our dork, but we top deck like a champion in this household. So opponent, when they surgicaled us, probably was checking to see if we kept Ballista in, which we did not. So they may actually not kill Druid, knowing that we didn't keep Ballista in against them. However, that's a mistake, because even without Ballista, Infinite Mana is still pretty powerful between Kitchen Finks, Scavenging Ooze, Shalai, and Mirror Entity. Do they have a second bolt? That is the question. They do. Okay, so we're not winning this next turn. I don't care if you Surgical Druid. I actually don't mind it because that increases my chance of drawing a natural land right now. Best possible draw would be like a Razorverge Thicket here, and then watch our opponent Blood Moon us. I had too many Phoenix decks bringing Blood Moon against me. Scavenging Ooze, if it untaps, is the most powerful threat I have. It also doesn't die Gut Shot, so I want to play this. I feel like it's going to get Lightning Axed. Let's see. Okay, that's fair. Best possible draw, still Razorverge Thicket or a Path. Alright. We don't have much more time to draw a removal spell or a third land. That's really interesting, Phoenix Storm, being able to use... Yeah, if you make all your creatures zeros, and then you have some +1/+1 counters, that will be a pretty neat sack outlet. That is a pretty cool line. We'd already talked about a little bit in the chat how you can use it to effectively counter and anger the gods by just killing your board anyway. Okay, so we're dead to Gutshot Bolt. Otherwise, next turn will be either Land Company or Kitchen Finks, or hopefully a Path, because we're a pretty rough spot here. Okay. Alright. Well, game one we grinded. We grinded and almost pulled it off. Game two we beat them, and game three we lost. And if we'd drawn a certain card at any point in game one of that match, we could have pulled that off easy. Like if we just drawn Vizier, which is Viserys here, which is one reason why I run 2. Okay, going to 5. If this is Dredge, this is a fine 5. I don't actually want Noble. I'd rather hit a Company or something else. Goblins. Okay, this is super interesting, actually. I'm going to get a Overgrown Tomb off of the... actually, I'll probably just get Temple Garden and then just get basics. Not worry about black mana this game. Turn 2 Druid. If I hit a Vizier, I can actually win with Entity potentially here. Best possible draw would be a Chord or a Company. I guess Vizier is pretty good too with Mirror Entity. Are we just dead? Eight, 10, 14. If I block, we're down to 1, and I kind of have to block here. So, yeah. Yikes, guys. Alright, we might miss Knight of Autumn here. I think Sin Collector is probably bad, but it might be okay. And Offensa might be okay. This is an earlier blocker. I like Eidolon here. It stops a lot of their shenanigans. What I don't like is I don't... they don't actually have that much removal, so I don't know if the Druid combo is reliable here. Mirror Entity is not great. I don't like Shalai. She does stop some top-decked bolts to the face. That's about it. Yeah, 8 whack with devastating summons. That was fast. That was a on a mult to 5. We're not gonna win that. I think I'll run this. This could be over. This could be over pretty quick. The best possible draw here would be a druid, so we can try to win turn 3. You get a free scry here, thanks to our opponent. Cool. Not really what I wanted, but I'll take it. Unless that's something ridiculous, I'm not going to block with Vizier here, and I'm going to curve Finks into company and try to win that way. I think I'm in an okay spot here. Let's see what's on top. Land. I think I go to 11 here. Next time I want Verdant Basic Forest into Collected Company. Or actually probably just Gavney into Collected Company here. This is an interesting 8 whack is, I don't think it's a bad matchup, but it's certainly a matchup when you mulligan to mulligan a lot, you can certainly get punished. That's interesting. Still gonna block. Don't see a reason not to block the Bushwhacker there. Opponent's tapped out, so I will company so they can't Skullcrack in case that's something they run. I'm going to have a Vizier here, and I win next turn. I can't. Reality Hemorrhage, that seems strange. Like, why would you run that instead of Lightning Bolt? Maybe against her Affinity? Yep, anything Protection Red, certainly. If they're expecting that. Duskwatch Recruiter's on top, so I just need Devoted Druid to live here. I'm at a comfortable 8. So even without Ballista, we still win here. We kept Ballista in, right? Opponent's asking me for the win condition. I'm going to bring in the fourth path here, being on the draw. And I will take out Dork. Just be a little bit more reactive. Yikes. Alright, we get 2 draws to hit a land. I think we keep this. Alright, if Noble lives, we can do a turn 2 Finks, which is pretty sweet in this matchup. I mean, if we live, right? We could just be dead right here. This deck is fast. Alright, that is 7-9. Sure, we go down. We go down. Alright. I think we're in an okay spot here unless they have devastating summons with another Bushwhacker. Which I don't think they do. I think they had like another Burning Tree, they would have played it last turn. What do you guys think? Chat's being kind of quiet right now. Okay, so them having first strike's actually pretty rough here. Let's see what's on top of our deck. Good. Biggest creature is this one. What are my lines here? So I can path. I can go to 4 in company. That's not a terrible line, but if company doesn't hit anything good, I'm just dead, right? I can Finks path. That would take care of... That would put me at 6. Kill something. Kill this, right? Then I'd have 2 blockers. Block, block. I think I need to Finks here. I think Finks path is the right line. And then next turn, company. So I'm going to block with Noble. Actually, I think it's better if I just path the Legion Loyalist before. Okay. That means we might be dead because they can kill the Finks. Yep. This means I can't tap path. I have to do it right now. I'll let into 3. And then back up to 5, then down to 4. Oh, they have trample. I forgot about the trample. That's kind of terrible. So this company has got to be pretty good here. Like a Knight of Autumn Finks or something. You go down to 1 here. Dead to pretty much anything unless we get good hits, which we did not. So that's game. All right. That was rough because we didn't have a single good hand in that whole matchup, but that happens. Our opponent can be pretty fast. 8 whack, fell in 3. Yeah, Goblins is really fast. Devastating Summons makes it even faster. I think Devastating Summons Goblins is the best version of Goblins against us. So since turn 1 Viscera, turn 2 Scoos, turn 3 Ewit, it's pretty slow. Much better. And that's why you mulligan. That's a good top. Opponent also mulligan and put a card on top. Can't believe how fast actually Devastating Summons really is. Oh, another blue-red matchup. Save that for the Traverse. Andrew, did you catch the last blue-red Phoenix matchup? Did I go for the win here? I think I just go for the win here. Ah, shucks. That's kind of rough. Should have Coco'd. If our opponent paths the Druid, I'm actually fine with that. Yep. Need more land for company anyway. Oh, they path the Vizier? That seems like a straight punt, doesn't it? Or pathing the Duskwatch, sorry. I mean, they could just be dead right here. Keeping a white up in case I get Shalai. That's how I, once I get the combo. Oh, they're not dead. I love Geist this draft. I think we're actually pretty good against it thanks to Kitchen Finks. So if we hit Vizier there, we're able to somehow draw into a Shalai. That would be pretty cool. It's fine. Next turn I can just Ewit Vizier, and then if I draw anything useful. No blocks. Take 6. My opponent has 2 cards left in their hand. I think we're doing alright here. I think we're doing okay. Not a Duskwatch. So I can get infinite mana right now. I can Ewit Vizier, but that doesn't do anything. I think I want to 1, 2, 3 Ewit for Coco and go from there. You can't catch a break. Two Cocos, 0 Vizier. Kind of unfortunate. One, two, three. I'll just do it again. Shalai. Perfect. Opponent does have Cryptic Mana up. Yeah, Chris. Jeskai Geist, I think, is a fantastically fun deck to play. You get to close the corner quickly, and you get to pretend and trick people into thinking you're a control deck when you're really just a glorified burn deck. It's a tempo deck. It's got a lot of fun lines to it. That's my first top 4. That's Jeskai Geist. Sure. Swinging with this guy before he flips again because I did double spell. I got pretty good use out of him. He drew me, so far he's drawn me 2 cards, and he saved me 2 mana. Snapcaster Mage and Lightning Bolt are an amazing pairing, and I think it's underplayed in Modern. I think Izzet Phoenix is correct in jumping into snaps right now. especially since Thing in the Ice and Snapcaster Mage work so well together. Sometimes you want Snap back in your hand, and Thing in the Ice puts them back there. Restoration Angel. Nope, they're willing to trade. It's fine. Bolt, Bolt. Bolt, Snap, Bolt. You got it, dude. So Stick runs a lot of removal, so I'll take the Court of Callings out. Maybe I'll keep one in. I like Plague Crafter against Geist. Inoffenza has not seen the field yet. I'll just bring her in here. She's a big body. She's forced to be pathed. Run this. She blocks well. She races well. Getting some rough variants here. Land. Taking Shalai next turn. It's not a bad line. Cannot Shalai next turn. Land. Just want to squeak out of here with a win if we can. This is a pretty rough matchup. Yeah, Mirror Entity. Mirror Entity would be pretty good here. Alright, let me see if I can say your name correctly. Narinarath? Kevin, we're not doing well. And we're having some poor mulligans. Mulled to 6, kept a 1-lander, scried bottom, haven't hit a land yet. Current record, beat Shadow, lost a close one to Phoenix, lost to 8 whack, and down a game against Jeskai. So the league's not going super hot at the moment. So they have Cryptic Mana up. Land is what all we want. Let's not land. I can't 0-5. The worst I could do is 1-4. Hey! I think I said it correctly. Narinarath, right? Awesome, thanks. Thank you very much. Certainly appreciate your support. Hey, thanks for the bits. Thanks for cheering me on. Let's see here. I think if I had a fetch land, I would U-Wit for a fetch land, but instead I'm just going to be dropping a Finks here. Walking into a Cryptic. Nope. Okay. Good news is our opponents put 0 pressure on us. Come on, Kevin. You gotta support the whole stream, right? Or you just can't leave. If you leave, I just lose. Just fall apart. That Shadow matchup was pretty sweet, actually. Like if I could have like a spotlight for how good Mirror Entity, and the Phoenix one too. That Phoenix matchup was pretty sweet. I have 5 potential mana. I could Sin Collector. I could do anything I want right now. I think the best line is to Company on their end step, so I'll just do that. And then untap and be able to play a Shalai. He's like a Snap Helix. If they tap out, I am definitely going to Coco. Opponent has 3 cards left in hand. Grab Vizier. I was hoping to get a Scavenging Ooze and then eat the Helix, but what if I did that before? If I read the 2 skews, I think I might have done that. So welcome everyone. You got some viewers in the chat. Make sure you tell me what I'm doing wrong. We can get a punt counter going if that's what you guys want. I think game 1 against 8 Whack, there's really nothing we could do. And then mulliganing again made it pretty rough. Yeah, I'm not playing 25 removal spells. That's what I'm doing wrong. We have 4, 5, 6. So I can Sin Collector Ewit. I like that line. Get a little punished here for opponent Cryptics, but then we get to cast the Ewit, which is fine. Punt count 1, not playing rock. I like it. All right. And yeah, you certainly are a man of your word. Spell Queller. Okay, so we need to side in paths. So our opponent has a removal spell for the Vizier if they're doing this. Nope. Okay. They're just protecting their life total for no reason. I don't know if I said that. Don't know if I said that, Ian. I just trimmed it. Didn't really fully shave it. I trimmed it pretty short though. And no, I don't recall agreeing to this. I don't think she knows about it. Opponent can activate Colonnade, right? Nope, they're 1 short. They have 4 cards in hand. They know I have a company. 1, 2, 3, 4. I cannot cast both of my spells. I see no reason not to attack with everything. They're just attacking me in the air. Then company on their turn, or if they tap out. Sounds definitely like me. So we have 2 Scoos in the deck. We know it's not in the bottom, so I could company and try to hit Scoos right now. I don't hate that line. No Scoos. But we do have Plague Crafter and Anafenza. And Plague Crafter will kill that. Cute little interaction with the Kitchen Finks. Okay, so I have another snap, which means they're only going to get 1 usage out of the snap because they don't have enough mana to use both. Snap Path. Path probably targeting the Vizier or the Finks here. Either way, I'm sacking this Finks. Force their action on the Vizier. Pathing Anafenza. Sure. Okay, so Plague Crafter is awesome when you have this combo in play. I mean, Scredrite can get you with Anger of the Gods and Chalice, so... And the Mirror is an absolutely miserable matchup. It's really just who's going to be faster. So, those are... I mean, there's no bad losses here. I mean, I've lost to this your best matchup in Dredge a couple times. It's just going to happen. Even if you have a, 75-25 matchup, you still can get wrecked. Like, our opponent's, I think, pretty favored here, and I think we're going to beat them game 2. I think they'll be a little bit better prepared for us game 3, but Plague Crafter was really sweet there. I mean, I thought that was pretty awesome, that little interaction. It wasn't a Scavenging Ooze, which would have been really what I was digging for, but... So I think I attack with everything but Vizier, and then I have 4. I'm going to just cast both of these. Our opponent knows about the Shalai in hand, I believe. No, that was last game. Plague Crafter has been in spots. I mean, they had double Snapcaster, so it wasn't as good as it could have been. But my one issue with Gideon right now is he's just going to be fodder for Colonnade. This is a pretty intense matchup so far, I feel. I definitely prefer this over Teferi. Counter draw, sure. So I will untap, or I will rather cast Gideon. Gideon dies to Colonnade if I just make a 2-2. I don't think a 2-2 is good enough, so I'm just going to emblem him right away. And go from there. Yeah, just made every creature in my deck actually a decent size. A 4-3 Kitchen Finks, a 3-2 Vizier. The reason I didn't do this pre-combat was I was playing around Cryptic. Ooh, that's rough. That is rough. Okay. I didn't think a deck that ran Geist and Spell Queller would run Anger. I was wrong. Sure, let's shuffle our deck. Okay, we're going to top deck mode here. They have a Colonnade in play. We have nothing. This can fetch the last fetchable land out of my deck. Doing so, though, will put me at 16, which is an even number for Colonnade beats, so I'm not sure I want to do that. In fact, I actually think I value that 1 life more. Yep, total top deck mode. Eternal Witness is the best possible draw. Or Company. I think I'm going to Company now. And I'm actually going to... So if I Emblem Gideon, I'll have 5, 9 power on the board. I'm actually going to plus him so he doesn't die to Colonnade, and then I'm representing lethal. I might just ult him next turn, to be honest. I just want to get a little bit more value out of him in case they had a board wipe here. They cannot board wipe and kill Gideon. If they had a path and they path Gideon there, then I'm in pretty good shape with the Finks and Ewit. Yeah, holding land is probably an alright play there. I just had exactly 1 land left, and I was thinking of just getting it out. Yes. Yep. 6/6 Gideon is super cool. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. We know 1 is not a path, otherwise they already would have pathed Gideon. Or it could be a snap, which also represents a path. I think my line here is actually to ult Gideon and swing for lethal. And then play a bird post-combat, which can protect him from Colonnade. If they have Bolt on him, they have Bolt on him. I'm not a fan of blue-white. I don't mind this deck as much because it's more interactive. I don't actually think blue-white controls an interactive deck. I think it's more like Tron than it is like Jeskai. So I'm not representing lethal in this attack, and I'm fine with that. I wasn't going to kill them anyway because I had the Colonnade blocker. Blue-white X, yeah. I know what you meant. Play the bird to protect Gideon from Colonnade if I have to. But if they're attacking Gideon, I'm probably winning anyway. They need a verdict. They need like a board wipe right now. Alright. Spell Queller is pretty good. So Gideon's going to fall. The opponent top decks exactly a Bolt. Are we dead? I think so. It's 6, 9. Yeah, they put themselves in a good spot there. And they can't attack with the Spell Queller, so I don't know what they're doing here. Yeah, I think that is punted. Yeah, Esper Control goes straight back into the binder. Sure, Gideon's down. That's fine. He's done his job. I think they have a path here. All right, they just punted. So knowing our opponent has Spell Queller, does that change my decision? I think it does. I think it actually makes me want to bring in some trophies so I can hit Colonnade. Actually, we didn't see any Jace, anything like that, so Path is strictly better. I think I can cut a cord. Opponent was really scared of Anafenza. I didn't see any reason for Knight of Autumn. Did you guys chat? I mean, Trophy can also hit Rest in Peace in case they bring that in. I just don't think they will. Yeah, I don't see any reason for the Knight. Yes, the cool thing about this list is I brought in the Mirror Entity main, cutting a third Recruiter. So far, it's been phenomenal. I'm on 2 Trophy instead of Decay, and I have an Anafenz instead of third Knight. I think I want to try this. 3 paths. How much are entities going for? I mean, online it was like 6 cents, so. This breaks all my rules, so I'm actually going to keep this hand. So I think they took Geist out against me, which is probably correct. Which makes this hand a lot better. That makes their clock slower, and if their clock slower, this hand can actually grind with Jeskai Geist a little bit. If they were blue-white control, if they were into fairies, I would not have kept this hand, because against the fairy decks, I want to combo as fast as possible. But because they're running just creature kill and burn, I think this hand is a lot better, because I can go Sin Collector, Plague Crafter, Gideon, things like that. Yeah, Geist is terrible against Kitchen Finks decks. If they tap out here, I know I'm safe to play Sin Collector. So they didn't take Geist out against me. Okay. I think that's wrong. But either way, I still have a blocker here. Opponent's hand is pretty bad. I think I want to actually take the Logic Knot. So then I can land a Gideon. Which leaves my opponent, their avenue now is to try to burn me out. They shocked, which means they probably drew something good. There's the bolt. I'll fall to 13. They've got to have snap, right? That's like the best possible thing they could have right here. Snap bolt. Which makes Plague Crafter a little worse. Yep, that could be correct. You're right, Kevin. I personally never took Geist out because I love him so much. Opponent played their Colonnade. If this gets countered, I get to untap with a Plague Crafter or a Gideon. Okay. Best possible draw is a Path to Exile. Then I can Path the Spell Queller and then Plague Crafter. Opponent's got to kill Geist here, otherwise we just win with the company. No. Okay. I guess they win if this company hits absolutely nothing. Shalai's on the bottom. And I will actually rebuy Plague Crafter because my hand is so good. I'm going to go down to 5. And I die to a burn spell here. Cryptic Command or a burn spell kills me. Opponent has 1 card in hand we don't know about. Otherwise, I think we can turn the corner right here. So, Snapcaster, Cryptic. Or we actually just had to Colonnade, right? Yeah, alright, we're just dead. Possibly. Probably should have cracked Canopy first. I don't think it actually mattered. Alright, one more, and then we're going to go to Abzan reverse. No more blue decks. Faced 3 blue decks so far. I can't 0-5. I won the first one. Jeskai Geist. No, it's 0-5. Alright. I mean, it happens. So, this league was to test Mirror Entity, and so far Mirror Entity has overperformed. I will keep this hand. Mostly because it's got Mirror Entity in it. Human, okay? So I'm going to go turn 2 Druid Bird, and then I can go turn 3 Company, Entity, whatever I want. I can try to win. I mean, I just can win, so. Unless they have a Reflector Mage next turn. Alright. One does not equal 0. Okay, so this is how we lose to humans. Exactly Reflector Mage. It's really the best card they have against us. I want to put myself in a situation where if I top deck a Druid, I'm okay. Sure. I think the cord's more valuable to us than the company, but they're probably going to take the company. Yep. We're not going to win a fair game here. The only way we're going to win is an unfair game. This is Meddling Mage. Another Kite Sail. All right. Yeah, okay. We're going to lose to that, too. Alright, against humans, I want removal. Plaguecrafter probably is not good enough. Scooz is bad. Probably more removal. Knight of Autumn might be okay. And actually bring out a couple companies. So bring out the couple companies, 4 removal spells, and Knight of Autumn. I think Mirror Entity might actually be kind of sweet here. I just don't think it's good enough. The reason why I'm bringing out companies is it's a more it's a slower win condition than Chord. 2, it is a more commonly named card than Chord. Had some rough mulligans this league. Definitely get hit by some variants, especially in the 8-whack matchup. Kitchen Finks is really good here, but it is not as good as a second land. Or as good as a Druid. A top-decked Vizier means we win the game. Hey, kitty. Oh, yeah? It's not a Vizier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we can Chord for a Vizier if we so choose. Opponent has 6 cards in hand. Super loud cat. He's awesome. His name's Sawyer. He's got food. I'll check after this, make sure he didn't eat it all. Phyrexian Revoker is actually kind of neat. Doesn't stop a path, though. So I cannot Chord right now for 2. It's never enough food. Never. Court of Calling, Eternal Witness, Vizier, or Duskwatch, or Ballista wins me the game. Unless my opponent has Dismember. Sure. I hope you hit my Noble Hierarch. Please hit my Noble Hierarch. Nothing going here. I'm drunk. It's ginger ale. I guess it doesn't prove anything. It's ginger ale. Although don't shame me. That's for the nighttime streams. Get animated. I tell stories. Days. I've been a little bit crushed right now. We beat the shadow. Let's just do that. Cool. Opponent punted. Because opponents tapped out with the Static Caster, I feel like it's safe to cord for 2 here. Sure. So let's get another Druid. So Accompany's a live hit. It is nighttime somewhere. Hand's pretty bad. That made it a lot better. Yeah, as long as Humans doesn't have Reflector Mage, I feel like it's a pretty solid matchup. Reflector Mage kind of crushes us. And this is going to hurt too. Alright, we fell pretty horribly there. Hey, thank you, Funky Bass. How's it going? Thank you for the subscribe. Unfortunately, it just caught me losing right there. But losing happens. Quick recap of the league. We beat Grixis Death Shadow in 2. We lost Izzet Phoenix in 3. We had plenty of chances to win game 1. We just didn't draw into any of them. We lost to 8 Whack in 3, got run over game 1, beat them game 2, and then couldn't put anything together for game 3. Lost to Jeskai Geist in 3. I'll have to go back to see if I made any mistakes in the 3rd game. I may have, which certainly changed the direction of this league. And then just got run over by Humans. Andrew, are you there? It's supposed to be the 5-0 dream. No, that was last stream. You guys missed it last stream. Can't 5-0 every time. Can't even 05 dream. No, I didn't 05. I'm sorry. You guys all wanted me to 05, and I couldn't do that for you. Anafenza was okay. I never actually got to attack with her. I think I put her in the play twice, and she was immediately killed, which is a good sign. I like her also as a grindy element. We didn't have too many experience with that with her. Mirror Entity was absolutely fantastic. Mirror Entity, so far, I mean, if we can just go back and rewatch game 1 and 2 against Shadow and Phoenix, Mirror Entity changed the entire board state by itself. Just being able to change the combat math against Shadow in our favor was really cool. Knowing that we could make even just a Birds of Paradise into a 5/5, basically unblockable, is pretty sweet. I've been trying the second trophy over the Decay, primarily to combat blue-white control and Tron. I think being able to hit Tron lands is more important right now than Abrupt Decay. If I'm going to go up against a bunch of Vile decks, Spirits and Humans, I would bring in that Abrupt Decay again. But right now the meta is shifting more towards Tron and blue-white control than it is the Vile decks, which I'm not a fan of. I'd rather play against Humans and Spirits because I think it's more enjoyable Magic. I think combat math is more interactive than play a giant Planeswalker and win the game. So right now I'm leaning on 2 trophy. That's actually what I took to the regionals, where I went 6-3. Have it right here. At regionals, I beat Burn, which I beat Burn without casting a single Kitchen Finks the entire match. It's just weird. It was really weird. I beat Eldrazi and Taxes in 2. I think it's a good matchup. I lost a really close one to blue-white control. There's a spot where I had an out, but I had to get a lucky Coco hit. And by lucky, I mean just a Vizier. And I would have won. I did not hit it, so I ended up losing that game. Izzet Phoenix, I got run over game 1 because I mulled to 5 and kept a Finks hand, and that didn't do it. And then game 2, I had a hand with 3 Path Exiles and Eternal Witness in it at one point later in the game, and my opponent dropped a Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that didn't do it. Path Exile doesn't do much against Jace. I beat Grixis Death Shadow in 3. Walking Bliss is a fair card, won me that. Beat Hollow 1 and 2. I lost to Grixis Death Shadow in 3. The third game there, if I had drawn Gavany Township, any creature, or any removal spell in my entire deck, and I had 3 turns to do it, I would have won, but I did not. We just had a blank board state for a while, and my opponent was the first one to draw a non-land card. So that was a really interesting matchup. I could have put him down to 1 at any point. He could put me down to 1 at any point. There's 3 turns of just stalling. Or again, if I just had a blocker, so an extra creature, a Gavany to deal 1 more point of damage, or a removal spell, I could have won that. Dredge was an easy 2-0, and then Abzan I beat in 2 also. I just think this deck can outgrind classic green-black decks, unless those green-black X decks have Scavenging Ooze to stop what we're doing. So that was same list. I think the trophies were pretty good here. Unfortunately, I still lost to the deck that trophy was in there for, but it was very competitive. It was very close, which is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to win everything. I'm just looking to have a chance in every single matchup. Yeah, I love it when they slam a Teferi into a trophy. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that often. So, Andrew, you still here? Because you were the one who wanted Traverse. I have to pull up your list. So overall, quick recap, I was very impressed with Mirror Entity here. I'm actually intrigued in playing more of him. I think that I just also want to double check that the 3rd Dusk Watch Recruiter slot is the correct slot for a Mirror Entity. I mean, I didn't have some good Coco hits, but no whiffs. No whiffs, thankfully. I mean, I personally don't think Coco into a single Eternal Witness is good. I think if I wanted to spend 4 mana to flash 2/1, I'd play Snapcaster Mage. What do you guys think? Well, I wanted to make sure. Andrew is on for Traverse. If he's not on, I'll just stream Traverse later if that's alright with you guys. Yeah, you could do some sort of teamer list with Snapcaster, Bolt, and Snap Coco. Click to company to 2 Tarmogoyf seems pretty sweet. of course, it's not going to work out the way you think it is because Tarmogoyf wants a lot of different card types and Collected Company just wants creatures.